Mike, have you ever been to prison?
Where is this going?
I mean, have you visited a prison, not been in prison?
Well, I haven't visited an active prison. I have been to Alcatraz. We went together.
We did go together. I forgot about that. That was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Well, if something were to happen, and obviously you're wrongly imprisoned in this scenario.
Obviously.
I would go back and listen to this episode to help bust you out.
Oh, yes, because this week we're talking about prison escape. But we're not talking about, like, hopping over barbed wire fences and, like, running away from rabid dogs. We're talking about prison escapes via helicopter.
It's gonna be fun.
According to Wikipedia, one of the earliest instances of helicopter being used to escape a prison was the escape of Joel David Kaplan on August 19th, 1971 from a prison in Mexico. Kaplan was a New York businessman who not only successfully escaped the prison, but eventually escaped Mexico completely and went on to write a book about his experience called The 10-Second Jailbreak.
Okay. I feel like if you escape prison and then escape the country in which the prison is in, and then you write a book about it, like, that's a bold move. It seems like you're really begging for trouble. But if you want to read this, there's an Amazon link in the show notes.
I mean, clearly Kaplan was a man of, like, showmanship, right?
Yeah.
Like, he...
Also, the 10-second jailbreak sounds like one of those
4-hour work week,
8-minute hot body, or whatever.
Life hack your jail time. Turns out that France has had more helicopter escape attempts than any other country, of at least 11 incidents on record, and there is a good reason for that, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But one of the most notable of these French jailbreaks occurred in 1986 when Nadine Verjure, the wife of bank robber Michael Verjure, studied for months to learn how to fly a helicopter. Using her newly acquired skills, Nadine rented a white helicopter. Don't know how you do that. No idea. She just did it. Nadine rented a white helicopter and flew low over Paris to pluck her husband off the roof of his fortress prison. Michael was later seriously wounded in a shootout with police, and his pilot wife was arrested.
Man, marriage, it's a special thing.
It really is. Really, very much is. The record for most helicopter escapes goes to convicted murderer Pascal Paillet, who has used helicopters to escape from prisons in 2001, 2003, and most recently in 2007. So that is what bumped the numbers up for France. I wasn't aware that there was some kind of, like, loyalty system for these types of things, but, like, I guess there is.
Yeah, it's just getting those holes punched every time. Over the years, as you may expect, many prisons have taken precautions to protect against such escape attempts, putting in place things like nets or cables over open prison courtyards.
Should we dive into a list of some more escapes?
Absolutely.
Well, in October 1973, a member of the Provisional Irish Republican Army hijacked a helicopter and forced the pilot to land in the exercise yard of Dublin's Mountjoy Jail. 3 other IRA members escaped, inspiring a song that contains the lines, "It's up like a bird and over the city, there's 3 men are missing, I heard the water say." I mean, there you go. I mean, what immortalized, really.
It's pretty great. If your prison escape makes it into a song, I think you're doing it right. In May of 1978, 3 men attempted to break out of a United States penitentiary in Marion, Illinois. A woman named Barbara Oswald hijacked a St. Louis-based charter helicopter, because you want to be classy when you do this. She forced the pilot to land in the yard of the prison. While landing the aircraft, the pilot, a man named Alan Barkledge, who was a Vietnam War veteran, struggled with Oswald and managed to wrestle the gun away from her. The pilot then shot and killed his hijacker, thwarting the escape. Now, this is where the story continues. A few months later, Oswald's 17-year-old daughter hijacked TWA Flight 541 in an effort to free one of the 3 men that were involved in the previous attempt by way of a bomb threat. Sadly, or thankfully, I don't know which adjective is right, her attempt was also unsuccessful.
I assume that, like, never give up is probably their family motto or something.
It's weird. It's weird,
just
right?
Keep going for it. They won't give up, the Oswalds. In 1981, Canada saw its first attempted prison escape via helicopter. Marina Picou held a sawed-off shotgun against the back of the head of a helicopter pilot.
Oh, my.
She demanded that he land in a prison courtyard where her boyfriend was set to escape. The pilot faked a panic attack, at which point Pecue turned over her weapons and gave up on the attempt, allowing the pilot to return to the airport where she had hijacked the aircraft.
The story gets even better. After faking the panic attack and getting the hijacker to turn around, the pilot then explained in great detail exactly where they were and where they would be landing on arrival at the Quebec City airport. He added that the police would surely be aware of what was going on, that she had hijacked the helicopter, but would not yet be aware that she had given up her arms to the pilot. As he was doing so, as he was basically narrating this to her, he was secretly transmitting audio from the cockpit to air traffic controllers, who then made sure the police were indeed waiting on the ground.
Wow, that's pretty shrewd move.
It's pretty good, right? I think in honor of that, we should take a break.
And this is the kind of break that doesn't need a helicopter. We gotta fly right in and talk about Squarespace instead. They let you easily create the website that you want for your next idea, and with the ability to grab a unique domain name, award-winning templates, and more, they are the place for your next website. Whether you want to create a store, a blog, a site for your business, a site for your wedding, I know all about that, or just about any website at all, Squarespace has all of the tools that you need. They are an all-in-one platform. There's nothing to install, no patches to worry about, and no upgrades needed. Just everything's taken care of, including support. They have a 24/7 support team that will be there for you whenever you need them. You can sign up for a free trial just by going to squarespace.com, and then when you sign up for a plan, use the code UNGENIUS for 10% off. Their plans start at $12 a month, but you can get that 10% off when you use the code UNGENIUS at checkout. Squarespace. Make your next move, make your next website. In the US, in December 1985, James Rodney Leonard, who was in prison after a murder, teamed up with William Ballou and Jesse Smith to escape the Perry Correctional Institution in a hijacked helicopter. Their mistake was picking a 3-person aircraft, because with 5 people aboard, it barely cleared the fence. The 3 were picked up by law enforcement officers just a few days later. Not a very successful escape by any means.
Ronald J. McIntosh walked away from a minimum security prison on October 28, 1986, and then apparently just rented a helicopter a few days later that he used to free Samantha Lopez from a federal correctional institution just east of San Francisco. Both were caught just a couple of weeks later on November 15th when they arrived to pick up their wedding rings from a California shopping mall. The authorities were monitoring the account McIntosh used to write the check, and the police were waiting for them.
A little bit brazen, these two.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at least leave the state.
Yeah.
You know? Hey-ho. This didn't end well for old Ronnie Boy. 25 years were added to his sentence, while Samantha saw 5 years added to hers. As they were driven away from each other to their separate prisons, Ron was able to lean out of the car window and yell, "I love you," to Samantha.
Oh,
Isn't that sweet?
it's so nice.
Ben Kramer tried to escape by helicopter from a federal prison in southwest Miami on April 17, 1989. The escape failed when the rookie pilot, Charles Stevens, hovered 12 inches off the ground in a very tight space. When Kramer jumped into the small 2-seater aircraft, its rear rotor struck a razor wire, causing it to become uncontrollable. We've all seen what that looks like in action movies. Mm-hmm. But Stevens made an attempt to take off anyway. One of the skids caught on the razor wire, causing the helicopter to catapult over the fence and crash into the prison grounds.
Oh, no.
Both pilot and escapee sustained, as you can imagine, extensive injuries.
Wow. What a scene. Colorado inmates Ralph Brown and Freddie Gonzalez were able to escape via helicopter. Rebecca Brown and Patricia Gonzalez chartered a helicopter out of Denver, Colorado. Once airborne, the women held semi-automatic pistols to pilot Tim Graves' head and ordered him to land in the prison yard to pick up the 2 men. They were all arrested that night. Turns out it's pretty helpful to have a spouse if you're going to jail.
Is that what you're taking away from all of this?
Yes, undoubtedly.
Okay, good.
In 1997, a helicopter was stolen from Belgium and used in an escape attempt in the Netherlands. It crashed into the ground outside the prison, killing the pilot and injuring the would-be escapee.
Then in June 2000, Stephen Whitsett's helicopter escape went sideways when it crashed about 100 yards south of a perimeter fence. He was found, along with the pilot, the next day trying to cross a canal 4 miles east of the prison.
He didn't get very far.
Just crawling away from the helicopter crash.
All right, it's time to go back to France. In May 2001, a hijacked helicopter flew over a prison south of Paris and dropped weapons into the exercise yard.
Ooh.
2 prisoners armed with a bulletproof vest, an automatic pistol, and a rifle dropped by the helicopter were able to take 3 guards hostage in an attempt to escape from prison. The hostage drama lasted about 24 hours before the prisoners surrendered.
I like this one. They took it and turned it, right? Like the helicopter was used as a tool as opposed to the vehicle of escape, but it wasn't very successful, unfortunately. Well, I was about to say unfortunately.
Right.
I guess fortunately it wasn't successful.
It's hard to know how to feel about these.
Anyway, while we're here in France, let's revisit our old friend Pascal Paillet.
Yes.
He was that guy, you remember, that broke out of prison 3 times via helicopter. On his second offense, he organized a helicopter escape from the very prison he had broken out of years earlier. He and 3 men he was helping to break out were later captured.
Greece saw a successful breakout in 2006 when 2 prisoners boarded a helicopter that had been hijacked and landed on the prison's roof. The helicopter flew to a nearby graveyard from whence they fled on motorcycles. I got to say, I like these guys' style. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were ready. They were ready.
That's right.
But then we go back to our friend Pascal Paillet. In 2007, he escaped from prison for his 3rd time while serving time after being captured for helping those 3 other men escape from earlier on. This time, the hijacked aircraft was flown 24 miles away before landing. Paillet and his accomplices then fled the scene and the pilot was released unharmed. He was, however, once again recaptured in 2011, had 5 years added to his sentence, which included time for murder, a handful of robberies, and now 3 jailbreaks. I mean, I can't even imagine the type of prison he was put in at this point. Like, no helipads, I guess, is what you're looking for.
Yeah. Hopefully not the same one, since the first 2 breaks were from the same prison. Maybe try something else this time, French Justice Department.
It's like, oh, no, we got it.
So this guy had a murder and a bunch of other crimes. He kind of seems like a real-life Indiana Jones. You know, like he can do anything.
No, you're romanticizing him again. He's still doing this. In 2010, Brian Lawrence was caught planning an escape. Lawrence communicated with his collaborators via a code written in invisible ink hidden in Sudoku puzzles. Officers grew suspicious and eventually discovered the code after a message, "More heat, less light," was found.
Not great, Brian. Not great. In 2013, a hijacked helicopter was used to attempt to pull down a wire fence at a prison in Greece. So again, turning this a little bit. Turns out they found that it was impossible to pull down this fence, so a rope was lowered for a couple of prisoners to climb up to the aircraft. During the gunfight that erupted between the helicopter and guards on the ground, one of the escapees fell from a height of about 10 feet into the courtyard, and the helicopter was eventually grounded in the parking lot.
I bet that really hurt.
Yeah, 10 feet to fall in a firefight is not awesome.
Yeah, I don't think that ended up very good.
To round this up, we're going to go to Canada. In March 2013, 2 inmates successfully escaped by climbing up a rope ladder to a hijacked helicopter.
Rope ladder is the way to go. That is the coolest way to do it.
It seems like it. Locals reported a helicopter landing and later men breaking into an area house. The escapees and their help were soon surrounded by police.
A year later, 3 detainees awaiting trial for murder successfully escaped via chopper from a Quebec City prison. The 3 men were arrested a couple of weeks later and returned to the same facility for when they were previously escaped.
Don't do that. Don't put them back.
I don't. It's like they already did it one time. Like they know how to do it. Like unless you put the prison inside of some kind of steel bubble, like the helicopter can come back. I will say that there is a trend which is very interesting, that all of these individuals were smart enough to come up with an escape plan which included a helicopter, but they basically all got caught again.
Some of them immediately. It's not a very successful thing.
Their genius ended at helicopter, and then they just kind of go to the shopping mall and buy some wedding rings. It's not very smart.
You could say they were ungeniused. You could say that. We would like to thank our friend Kevin for this topic. It's been on the list for a while, and once I started reading it, I couldn't stop because each of these is like a little adventure story. You know, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's terrible because they're escaping from prison, but it's fun. I'm very conflicted. If you want to read more, or if you want to find that book, The 10-Second Jailbreak, there are links in our show notes or on our website, relay.fm/ungeniused/42. You get in touch with us there. Our topics all come from listeners. So you can send us an email there, or you can find us on Twitter. The show is at Ungeniused. Mike is on Twitter as IMYKE, and you can find me there as ISMH. And until someone throws us our next rope ladder, Mike, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.